The call lasted exactly 17 seconds. That's all it took to shake the foundation of everything I'd spent years trying to hold together. Your daughter has 20 days to move out. We're having a real baby now. Click. No pause. No hesitation. Just venom. Perfectly measured. Poured through that clipped suburban accent I'd always hated. He hung up like I was a solicitor, not the man whose daughter he'd just cast out like forgotten furniture. I sat in silence for 5 minutes, barely breathing. The air felt heavier, the room smaller. Then I picked up the phone again. Paul. I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Remember that clause in the custody agreement? I didn't have to say more. It's time. I met Miranda when we were 24. I was fresh out of the academy, broke, green, and hopeful. She had everything I didn't. Money, polish, family name, that crisp confidence that comes from never being told no. Her parents wore disdain like expensive cologne. Somehow, she loved me anyway. Or maybe she loved the idea of herself loving someone like me. I didn't know it then. Our daughter, Sophie, was born 2 years later. She was light in a collapsing world. My eyes, my stubborn streak, her mother's grin. When Miranda left, she didn't just walk away from me. She tried to walk away with everything. She wanted full custody, control over every moment Sophie breathed. I didn't want war, but she gave me no choice. She lawyered up like she was gearing for a hostile takeover. Spent tens of thousands trying to erase me. It didn't work. The judge saw through it and granted 50/50ths. But even with equal time, Sophie preferred her mother's house. Bigger bedroom. Fancier neighborhood. I never blamed her. Kids don't measure love in visitation schedules. They measure it in comfort, in quiet. And that's harder to explain. Then Darren entered the picture. Investment banker. Custom-tailored arrogance. Expensive smile. He moved in fast, married Miranda faster. Sophie called him the stiff. He looked at me like I was a fluke in her past, like she traded up and was embarrassed to have ever loved so far down. He treated Sophie like she was a long-term guest overstaying her welcome. The changes came slow. First, Sophie started packing her own lunches. Said Darren didn't like her snacking. Then her favorite books vanished, confiscated, not misplaced. Too much fantasy makes girls unrealistic, he'd said. I started keeping notes. I didn't shout. I didn't show anger. I just watched, wrote, prepared. One night, Sophie cried in my truck. Told me Darren said she wasn't really family, that she should be grateful he let her stay. I took her out for ice cream and told her that monsters only win if we start believing they aren't monsters. That night, I installed cameras outside my house and bought a leather-bound journal. Each page marked with dates, quotes, observations. Not for court. For me. For clarity. I reread the custody agreement like scripture, and there it was, buried deep on page 17. A paragraph I'd insisted my lawyer include. Miranda never noticed. She didn't read anything longer than a headline. Any unilateral action to remove the minor from a primary residence without proper notice and without offering the father the right of first refusal shall result in an immediate reevaluation of custodial standing in favor of the father. 20 days. That's what he gave my daughter. No conversation. No explanation. Just a number. Miranda didn't even have the spine to call me herself. She let him speak her betrayal. Her silence was louder than his cruelty. But mine would be sharper, deadlier. Within 48 hours, Paul filed a motion. Emergency hearing, clause highlighted in red. Darren's smug email. We're having a real baby now. Printed in bold and stapled to front as Exhibit A. When I picked Sophie up that Friday, I didn't say a word about it. Just made her pancakes, let her sleep in, took her to the bookstore, said yes to 3 new books, no matter price. She smiled, not the tired, polite one I'd grown used to, but the real one, the one from years ago. The hearing was set for Tuesday. They didn't see it coming. Miranda walked in on Darren's arm, clinging like he was both shield and trophy. She hadn't aged, not visibly, but there was something hollow behind her eyes. Maybe regret, maybe fear. I wasn't sure yet. I let Paul handle most of the talking. Statutes, emotional wellness, breach of agreement. Then I stood and handed over a folder to the judge. Inside was the evidence. Timestamps, journal entries, quotes, camera footage, screenshots of messages, Darren's email, Sophie's drawings, one of our home labeled me and Dad's house, safe, another Miranda's labeled Mom's house. Quiet and cold. The judge didn't speak for 20 long seconds. Then he looked at them, Darren's jaw already twitching, Miranda's expression crumbling, and said, I'm granting temporary full custody to the father, effective immediately. The language in the agreement is clear. We'll reconvene in 90 days to assess the child's well-being. Just like that, the tide turned. Miranda's lips parted, but no sound came out. Darren stared at me like he wanted to throw a punch, but knew better. I didn't gloat, didn't smirk, didn't even blink. Sophie moved in permanently that week. Her room was already prepared, had been for months. She didn't know the storm I'd weathered to keep her safe, and she didn't need to. She just knew she was home. I didn't post about it, didn't rant. Revenge isn't about spectacle. It's about precision. Justice moves best in silence. But I did send Darren a small box. Just one. Inside, a baby rattle, still sealed. And a note written in clean, even script. Make sure your real baby doesn't learn to read. They might grow up to see exactly what kind of man you really are. Miranda called once. I let it ring until it stopped. Then I blocked her. She made her choice. And choices echo. That night, Sophie asked if she could redecorate her room. I said yes. She painted the walls a soft green, strung up glow-in-the-dark stars, rearranged her overflowing bookshelves. She eats more now, reads late, laughs from her stomach again. She's safe. I don't need forgiveness. I don't need applause. Just the sound of her soft breathing from down the hall. That's enough. At the academy, they taught us, never strike until your case is airtight. Turns out that's good life advice, too. Because the best revenge, it isn't loud. It's permanent.